Hi guys, today I'm doing a video I've been wanting to do for so long. It's just taken me forever to do it. But I'm super excited about it. So this is a video about permanent makeup. Permanent makeup would be lip blushing, ombre brow, that kind of thing. And so there's a place near me, I will link them below, they're amazing, where you can get this done. Now, I've never really been interested in this 100%. I was looking into it technically for my mom because, as I told you, my mom went through chemo. And so she started losing her brows and her lashes and stuff. So she was looking into this. Now you cannot get permanent makeup done. And if someone does do it, don't trust them. You can't get it done until 6 months after chemo. So it needs to be out of your body and things like that. So if someone's willing to do it, don't trust them. The woman I went to, her name is Clara. She is amazing. And she, literally is all about safety, health, the real process, certificates, all that stuff she teaches. And she's just amazing. So I actually went into model for her, so I did not pay for these services. I went to model for her so she could take photos and teach someone else the process. So what I got in the process, I didn't even really know going in, to be honest. I thought I was just getting one of the three, but I got all three. So I got brows, I got lash liner, and then I got lips. So I'm going to talk about the pain level, the experience, how long it took, the fading process and all that. So I did take photos all throughout the whole couple weeks after, but immediately when I went in, it was a long process. I was there from 9 a.m. until 3, I think, maybe a little earlier than 3. But I got lash liner done, which is just a black line along your lashes. It's supposed to thicken the lash line or make the appearance of a thicker lash line. I also got my brows done. So there was both microblading and then powder brows. So those are two different things. A powder brow looks a little bit more natural. It looks more like a filled in brow. A microblading is what you're probably familiar with, is kind of like the lines. So I got the powder brow because that's what would suit me better. My brows aren't super sparse. They're not that light. I have a pretty decent shape, so she didn't have to do much there. So I got powder brows. She said actually most people are more appropriate based on their skin type and stuff for powder brows than for microblading. And I agreed. She kind of explained everything. She was super wonderful. It still kind of felt like microblading. It's kind of like a tattoo, but it looks more just filled in rather than just lines, if that makes sense. It kind of looks like you took powder and filled your brows in, which is the way I always used to do it until I got lazy. And then we also did lip blushing, which is something I was not down for initially. That wasn't the thing I wanted to do. I never felt super insecure about my lips. I didn't really know what color to pick, so much stuff, but she was doing all three. And for the lips, she picked a color that was just kind of a universal, something that would match my skin tone. So let's go into it. I'm pretty sure the first thing that she did was numb my brow area. She used, I'm trying to remember because this was 3 months ago, 4 months ago. It was a while ago. May, maybe March. Oh my God, I don't even remember. The first thing she did was numb my brows. She also numbed my lips because this stuff hurts. I'm gonna tell you right now. She couldn't obviously numb my lash line. So that one hurt the most for me. It was the most irritating. My eyes watered a ton. It kind of feels like someone, I don't know how to word it. I wouldn't even want to say it pain, just such discomfort, especially since I have super sensitive eyes. If you don't have sensitive eyes, this might not be a big deal for you, but for me, it felt like if you ever took a really, really dry eyeliner and put it on your waterline, but also it wasn't sharp, and it wasn't dull. It was when you're writing with a pencil and the pencil breaks, but you want to keep writing with it and it kind of scratches the paper. That's what it felt like. It felt like a broken eyeliner pencil scratching on my lash line, essentially. It doesn't sound pleasant, I know. But initially, I really liked how it looked. I thought it looked really good. But for me, the lash liner just didn't last, to be honest. You just can't see it now. I was really impressed with it, but she said that it just doesn't last and take on some people. And she also didn't do black on me. She did brown because I do have such a light skin tone, light eyes. But it just didn't last on me. So the way that it fades, it kind of flakes off and usually it comes back. So that's the top layer, and then the pigment is underneath and it shows up. But what happened was it flaked off and it never came back. And I think that's just because my eyes were so watery. She literally could barely do it. My eyes were watering so much. So that's that. For the brows, I didn't find the pain to be that bad. It was the least pain. It just kind of felt like someone was scratching you on your brow. So it wasn't that bad. They do outline your brow, show you the shape and everything first. She really didn't have that much to do with my brows just because they aren't in need of much. So that was, like I said, it wasn't that painful. It definitely took a few strokes, and she did kind of make sure to warn me, and they should always do this, is that it is going to look shocking for the first few days. Like, you're gonna look in the mirror and think you look like a crazy person. You're gonna think it looks like a 3-year-old did your makeup. Like, it's gonna look like someone took a Sharpie to your brows. Like, that's how it's gonna look in the beginning, but that's just the process. So if you're gonna do this, don't expect to look amazing the next day. Don't have pictures taken the next day. Don't go to work the next day. I mean, but it was shocking for sure. Now, the lips for me were the most shocking. They were definitely the most inconvenient. The brows kind of did what they were supposed to do. If you look up like fading microblading or faded powder brows, that's what mine intentionally looked like. It was almost a little bit less than that. So they kind of look like they flake off for the first like week or two. I'd say like 7 to 10 days, you'll see like a little bit of flaking in there, and like it'll kind of look like it's peeling and it's going away, but it comes back within a few days. By the 30-day point, everything should look how it's gonna look. Like I said, the brows were definitely the easiest, low maintenance. Like, literally right now, all I would do if I wanted to get anything done would be lamination, because my brows like come down, the hairs are super long. But all I do now is use like a clear brow gel. So I don't even know if you can see it in my brows. You should be able to. Like, I have no makeup other than like a little tinted moisturizer on, but like you can see kind of where it looks like there is powder in my brows. Maybe not as much in this one, but this one for sure, especially like from the arch and around. And that's essentially what that was. So that just kind of gives me more depth and darkness, things like that. Now for the lips, I don't even know where to begin because it was a process. So the lips hurt. I mean, honestly, like to have much of scratching in my eyes like was irritating. The lips hurt. Like, I needed to take breaks. Oh my God, I didn't know it would hurt so bad. I guess your lips are like super sensitive. I may just be a more sensitive person. I thought I handled pain super well. I've gotten laser hair removal down in the private area and I was fine. So lips were painful. Now, I was shocked. My lips got really, really, really swollen. And she said that that's normal for them to swell, but mine swelled more than she'd ever seen. And it was also because they were swelling so much, she couldn't keep going. What happened was my lips got so swollen, which is a normal reaction. My lips just swelled, I don't know. They swelled up a lot. So by the time she finished one side, it was so swollen that she couldn't even do the other one because they had to be even, and she was going to overline one, and then once the swelling went down, they wouldn't be even. So she actually couldn't finish, and I had to come back the next day after some of the swelling went down. So I ended up icing my lips to kind of help the swelling go down. The color also for me just like I wasn't happy with it initially. I was like, that's too bright. I would never wear a color like that. It's just too pink. Like, I was not happy with it. And she did say it's going to fade. Like, the color you see now is not the color you're going to have. I requested a more brown color because when I do wear any kind of lip color, tinted lip balm, whatever, I go for a more brown kind of color. She told me that based on my skin tone, it wouldn't look that good and it would pull very, very brown. Now, I think the color she did suit my skin tone. It was just kind of shocking for me. If you're someone who, like, for instance, never wears a red lip and then you wear one, every time you pass a mirror, you're like, whoa. That's kind of how I felt. The color was so intense and the puffiness lasted long. It definitely went down by the next day, so I went back and she was able to fill in the other side. And then the next day, that swelling wasn't that bad. I think I got used to it, but I still definitely had puffy lips for over a week. That's not the norm. So, like, let me just tell you, like, for most people, the swelling will go down in 24 hours. For me, it took over a week. That had nothing to do with her skill or her talent or anything like that. That was just my body's reaction. So I've never had a tattoo or anything, so I would imagine however you react to that would be pretty similar. Lip blushing is essentially a tattoo, and it's supposed to last up to 3 years. Now, the brows, I think, is like 1 year to 3 years. The oilier your skin, the less it will last. The liner is supposed to last about 1 year. Obviously, for me, I didn't react great to it, but the lips should last 3 years. It's now been, I want to say 6 months. It might be more like 4. I honestly can't even remember. But the lips, as you can see, lasted. So right now I have nothing on my lips, no lip balm, no anything, and the color is there. It's the most potent of everything. So I will say I went back, I think it's 4 weeks later, for a touch-up, which is something you have to do kind of once everything settles in. If there's a missing spot in your brow, if you need more definition, add an arch, something like that. When I went back for my month, 4-week thing, My brows didn't need anything. My lips though, I said, listen, like I love it, but it's too bright for me. The pink is too bright. So what she did is she mixed a more of like a peachy color and kind of toned it down. So it is definitely toned down. I think I have a picture of when she toned it down. I don't remember, but I will put it in if I have it. It wasn't as swollen. Like literally when I went in for the touch-up, it didn't take long, 10 minutes tops. She kind of just did a light wash over everything to tone the color down for me. And it didn't swell. I was like a little numb because they do the numbing on you. And to be honest, when I went back for the touch-up, she didn't even have to numb me. Like I was fine. So I don't know. It was just like the initial day that I went and it was like super intense. I don't know. But, everyone gives me compliments on my lips, I have to say. Constantly am I getting comments about it? Am I getting comments from my mom, from my friends? Like, oh my God, I love your lip color. What is it? It's natural. It's not natural, but it's built into my skin now. And it will be for the next 2 years probably. And now they say one thing to definitely remember is as it's fading, it will flake. And when you look up lip blushing, like healing online, my experience was not like that. Honestly, like online you see peeling and like don't peel it off, let the dry flakes kind of be. I didn't have that. I definitely had some dryness, but it wasn't like peeling off in flakes and like chunks and like looking how it did in other people's videos or blogs. For me, it just kind of slowly faded a little. And once the swelling went down and the color faded, I'd say like 2 to 3 weeks, it started really fading. By a month to 6 weeks is when the color became what it is now, which I really like. It almost has not a purple hue, but if you've been on my channel, which you probably haven't if you're watching this honestly, I used to use Grapevine. It's a tinted lip balm from Maybelline, and I loved it. It had this like really cool like purplish tint to it, and it really suited me, and I think that this looks a lot like that. She also did outline above my lip a little because I do have this like weird, I don't know what it is, but it's weird, and it kind of blends that in a little bit more. It definitely looks more of like an outline now, just because I do bite my lips like a disgusting weirdo. And I do peel my lips a little. You can even see that now, like in the center. So that is why. So if you do things like that, the color is not going to last as long. Like as you can see, the center is much lighter. Almost looks like I've had lipstick on for a long time and it started to fade. But I like it. I think it looks really good. I think it definitely like draws attention to my lips. It makes them not so nude and flat. I don't look as washed out when I'm not wearing any makeup. So I also want to say it does feel like it dries your lips out a little. Just like stick with that lip balm. It's not like the end of the world. But yeah, I would say the color I like now so much. I get constant compliments. My mom cannot wait for her 6 months to be up so she can go. It was definitely an experience. Like I would say it is expensive if you're going to do it, but it does last. I'd say for me, the lips definitely lasted the longest. If I was going to pick, if all this faded and I was going to pick one to go back and get, it would honestly be the lips, because I just feel like my brows, as much as I was excited about it, because you hear about that the most, my brows don't need that much. Like as much as like I don't love them, they're not perfect, but like I don't have any missing spots. I don't need like a ton of definition. My mom, even before she lost her brow hairs, had the blondest brows you've ever seen in your life. Like she had to fill them in because you couldn't even see them because they were so like baby hair blonde. And a lot of people just have missing brow hairs and things like that, and like their brows just need some love. Mine don't really need that much. I can do the minimal stuff on the daily to get them looking the way I want. And so I feel like if you're someone who struggles with your brows, if you want more definition, they're too light, sparse, whatever, that should be the one you pick. But for me, like beforehand, I never would have picked lips, just because I've always kind of ignored my lips. Like when I first started wearing makeup, like I didn't wear anything on my lips. I was a clear lip balm kind of gal. But since I've gotten this done, I so prefer it. Like I think it makes me more comfortable not wearing makeup, which I've gotten to that point before this. Like I could really care less. But looking in the mirror, some days when you're not wearing makeup, even if you're comfortable going out of the house with no makeup, like you're like, ugh, I look so like drab and dull, and like I just feel like I don't see that part of me since I've gotten the lip color. So the lip blushing, although it was the most crucial and brutal and uncomfortable and took the longest to heal and like look the way it should look, I like it the most. So I honestly do think it was worth it. I feel like if you want to get your lip blushing done, do it. Find a really, really, really well-reviewed place. But I do want to say Modern Beauty New Jersey is the place I went to. I will link their Instagram below. Wanted to share this because I feel like I've seen a lot of blogs, but like people didn't really talk about how it felt. They talked about the pictures and how it faded and stuff, and that just wasn't my experience. Like the way, literally all of the stuff I was looking at wasn't my experience. Like, so I hope other people have had a similar experience to me. I hope you find this video and you're like, oh my God, thank God, finally someone shared an experience that was like mine. So hopefully that happens, but I'm like really impressed. I'm really happy with the lip color. I would honestly go back and get it done again. Before you go for the actual, like to get the process done, you should go and meet the person, ask them what they think is best for you. Do they think it's better to get powder brows or microblading, things like that? Like talk to them, ask questions. They can give you a price, all that kind of stuff before you make your actual appointment. If they don't do that, I would question it because they just want to get the money. So they should want to make you feel beautiful. They should want to make you happy, not just for their good reviews, but because that's what they want to do. So definitely go in for, I cannot remember what the word is, but go in first, meet the person, make sure you're comfortable with them. If you're not comfortable with them, don't make the appointment. Don't let your fear of confrontation like lead to a nightmare of permanent makeup, because it's permanent for at least a while. So and then it's hard for someone else to fix. Maybe you find someone better, but they can't fix it all the time. So definitely like be careful of who you find. You'd want to find someone that's really, really, really good. That's like all I can say, really. So go and find someone you're comfortable with. Don't be like, that's kind of weird, or like, why is this price so low? Like if it's low, there's a reason it's so low. So definitely look around, shop around, meet multiple people. Don't just go and say, this is a good price, I want to do it, you know? I mean, I'm the type of person that does do that kind of stuff. I'm the person that's like, I want to chop my hair off. I'm going to go and do it tomorrow. Like, I want to do it. I don't want to like wait around. But for this kind of thing, because it does last so long, it's not just hair. It's not just going to grow out. It's going to take a while, and that's your face. So like, it depends on like how you feel and like what your job is, I guess, but you don't want to come home, and think this is terrible, but it's going to fade and then have it not fade. Like people suck, you know? So make sure you're finding someone you're comfortable with, someone who makes you feel good, someone who's happy to answer your questions and doesn't seem annoyed by your questions. Those things are super important because this is something you're paying a good amount of money for, and you deserve to like it. So after that long-winded thing, I hope this video helped you out. If you have any questions I didn't answer, please feel free to leave a comment